All right, everybody, let's get started here. We'll start with a few key charts tonight. Of note, the NASI did not turn up yet. I mean, when you're oversold, it's going to take a little while. We got obviously positive movement by the S&P today, but if you look right here, we're still oversold and we have not crossed up. And we noted that on the Phat-plan. We're looking for these cross ups when we're oversold and the moving averages begin to cross up. So that's kind of what we want to look for as far as me to get back heavy long in growth stocks. And then SPX, just continuation of those gaps. So I extended this one a little bit out just to show you. So this would be a key area today, very important level right here, this red line right around 6620. Sorry, my eyes, old man eyes, 6820. We established it here, actually going back 3 taps right here, and then we've got it here and here again. And then it's been this area is definitely showing some as a key level. And you can see our RSI throughout the day started going down. We had that divergence with price going up. Wouldn't surprise me if we see a pullback and retest this 6820 level in SPX, you know, one of those maybe to the penny and then continue up. Or if we happen to break down, then you look for it to get denied on the retest from underneath it, come back and fill this gap right here if we do. So just keeping that on the radar is a possibility. Dixie, inside day today. We'll see how this plays out tomorrow. But it's gold, very good day and strong again tonight. Look forward to potentially bounce off this trend line, this ascending trend line. We could see it potentially bounce right now. Oh, let me tell somebody right now. Just, hey, you are welcome to join. Oh, I forgot to put it in the, yeah, well, let me do that. Let me put it in the live stream. Second, sorry about that, everybody. I do that every night. Then the one night I don't, somebody asks for it. There we go. All right. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, God. Yeah, I tell you what, it's the way Stop Talk Weekly is doing has got me just like blown away. It's been amazing to watch. Now you got to remember, guys, I go back. I know everybody's a long time follower of Stop Talk Weekly, but I'm a long time follower of Stop Talk Weekly going back to COVID, was happening. And I think he had a couple thousand, like as in like maybe 2,000 followers, something like that when I started following him. And he made sense as opposed to a lot of jackasses on Twitter at the time. And I was in fun before the fun trade that most people know about. I mean, I'm talking the damn thing went 1,000%. He was like, and I always remember it because he was like, basically he just Googled and something about when Trump was running and he made the connection. It was just so smart. And so, I mean, I've been there for some just absolutely goddamn amazing things with him along the ride. VIX, cooling off today. Just want to show you that chart. Definitely cooling off, hit that 20 level. So common theme right here off of VIX. All right, we come down, we get back above that 50, and I've noted this many times. Above the 50 is where you see the big moves, and that common sense, right? So we cross the 50. This is the 50 simple moving average. Anytime you get above it, just like with any stock or any other ticker, when it's above the 50-day, especially a rising 50-day, good things tend to happen, and here we go. So gets denied here, gets above it. That's where those big volatility moves, they generally always come, not always, but generally always come from above the 50. And right here, you can see, here's a good example where it wasn't, right? It was a nice move from below the 50 all the way up. But in general, they come from above the 50. So probability wise, minimizing your odds. And so cooling off right here, we want to see it work back below that 50. That would be wonderful. Yeah, and the high yield index still going down, not excited about that. Just a couple of key charts tonight. So that, we could still see a little more of a pullback, may not just go straight up. And then SMH versus SPY, semiconductors versus SPY. I mean, looking good here. Want to like it going back up. Nothing wrong with it there. Looks healthy. SPY, very nice. I'll put the thumbnail on it for you so you can see it. Look at that volume come in today on the CMF, check and money flow. Very, very positive sign. May come back a little bit tomorrow. Again, I mean, that was a big gap move by SPY. You can see it right here. Big gap move by SPY. So, a little pullback, filling the gap, so to speak. And wouldn't be unusual. We've seen that watching our gap fills. And then XLI versus SPY. Oh, we always do this. Let me go to the growth. There we go. So consumer staples, or let me say it the other way, consumer discretionary versus consumer staples. It's a common way to identify whether or not we're in a growth environment. And what we have here is right now, yeah, a growth environment. And here's your equal weight doing the same thing. Your consumer discretionary equal weight and your consumer staples equal weight. And look at how I just love drawing a good symmetrical triangle and seeing it play out. And it doesn't always work, but look at that. Now, remember, of course, confirmation of the break upside, it would have to break this high. So just a little bit of basic technical analysis, nothing too fancy. Try not to get into all that, but let's break this down to 6 months, I think. Yeah, good look at it right here. So that equal weight, this is sort of a sign of breadth. And so if we see that equal weight, say tomorrow or sometime this week, break upside of this wedge and clear 198, this level right here, that would be extremely bullish, where I would definitely want to get long with size on particular growth plays that are looking good and in setup. So this is, to me, maybe the most interesting chart that we have tonight for certain, and to watch during the week. Obviously, XLY versus XLP, I mean, it's been doing great, but this would be a nice recovery of breadth that everybody worries so much by the equal weight. So definitely something to keep your eyes on, and how hard is that to type in whatever platform you use? Just type in XLY and XLP, however different ones have different indicators to make it do that, but it's just putting them together. That's all you're doing right there. So let's go to XLK. Let's look at our growth. XLK versus SPY, and XLK looking good. So this is our growth. Nice recovery today. Very nice recovery. Bring it up, you can see it a little better. And then XLC, pretty weak, got to say. No attempt to bounce right there. Let me bump that down to a year. Hard for everybody to see, I know. Not a very nice recovery today at all. All right, look at XLK going back up. It's been leading, has been leading, and leads, period. And look at XLC, just not good versus SPY. And look right here, we're testing that trend line we got. Maybe we get a little springboard bounce right here from the consumer discretionary. Amazon's looking, I think Amazon might be the best looking as far as currently potentially set up. If you look at Amazon, we'll look at that tonight versus those other guys. And then let's go value. Yeah. So XLI versus SPY, just moving sideways. Nothing wrong with XLI. Had a decent day today, but just moving sideways. Financials, surprisingly weak today. Thought financials were trying to make this push, right? And going to try to get on board, maybe lead in the industrials, but no, we did not see that, or the value plays. And then materials, same thing, kind of weak. And energy, kind of weak. I mean, versus SPY. Of course, XLK taking off today, although XLE did have a good day on price, no doubt about it, but it's not leading by any stretch. XLK, we already talked about. Let's look at our defensives. Here we go. How our defensives did. XLU bounced off versus SPY, bounced off the key level, did not improve. And consumer staples also did not improve. And real estate did not improve. So on our individual price chart, some of these guys did go up, but in terms of relative strength is basically sort of what we're looking at here versus SPY. XLK clearly the winner today. Let's go ahead and look at let's bring this up here. Let's look at our market carpet for the day. Let's just check our one-day market carpet here and see what we're looking at across the board. So you can see big tech, right? These guys all looking good. I take my mouse off so you can see it. You basically can see that large cap tech was kicking ass today. There were some pockets of strength, like in materials. We saw it had a decent day. I mean, Newmont, with your gold plays kind of carrying the load over there. Walmart made a little push today, but nothing of it. Cost still struggling. Your defensives, energy, some pockets of strength in there. Blero, XOM closed the day out, I believe, strong. I want to say. Let's check XOM. Yeah, XOM closed the day out. Look at it, trying to make a little base breakout here. I'm actually long oil right now through USO. Just being patient while I get back into the swing of things. WTI, this is very tight. Look at these closes right here. Nice tight closes. And I've got this one with the relative rotation histogram turning positive. Potentially tomorrow with a strong positive. Depends overnight how it handles itself. Let's go in and look at it intraday. Ooh, that's not good. Pretty red. I want to see it turn green here and get back up, push through that 10-20 cloud. You can see how we're nice and tight with the 5-day and the 10-20 cloud right here. Want to firmly establish ourselves to the top side. And I think that's it on stock charts. We can look at the how the day went here. You can see the index is mostly positive across the board, mids. Very strong day in terms of breadth across the board. But of course, you can see again the large caps. This is just a quick way of looking at it. See how the large caps across the board were the strongest. And then everything on the David Keller has turned green. That's all positive. You can see the breadth mostly green today, looking good. Let's see anybody overextended. None of these guys are. I mean, as key ratios, so like discretionary versus staples, which we already looked at that one, 1.69% up. They're all green basically. So, that's a positive for the bellwether type stuff. Look at them all green right here. I mean, looking good, right? But again, we're a little extended off that 10-20 cloud 5-day. Certainly a pullback, at least that 5-day wouldn't be unexpected. And of course, your crypto assets all ran with it as well. All right. Let's check our relative rotation graph. Let's see who took it down. Hold on. Let's see who came out on fire today in terms of velocity. So we know that, and why are we doing this? Well, we know that most, I don't say most, well, yeah, most stocks today went up, so over 50%. We know that a lot of stocks were up today, right? The rising tide lifts all boats type scenario played out today. So what we want to see is who had increasing velocity today, who, like RQ, made that turn towards that money angle. For anybody new, the money angle on the relative rotation graph is over here at this 45-degree angle. That's where you want to be headed, just like RQ. And you want to see increasing velocity, which we do see right here. See that? So this is after only one day this week. So this node to this arrow is after one day this week. These are weekly. So from here to here was last week, and then 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So we're working our 5th week now. You can see the 5-week rotation down here. So IBB, biotechs, up 6% over the week. ARK-K, for example, down 4% over the 5-week period, not 1 week, 5-week. And as we look at it on a snapshot here, we see some increase in velocity, not super strong or anything, and certainly not at the money angle, but ARK-Q, autonomous technology and robotics, showing itself early right there, right? So that's where it's at right there. I know that iDrive, those guys, I think, had pretty good days as well. All right, let's go through. So, oops, sorry about that. A little fidgety tonight. Technology. Let me slow down and grab a sip of wine. Put my arrows on. Look at SMH. You can already see it. So that's why I like this relative rotation graph. It just gives you, so by putting all our tech guys up here, and we keep the ARC family on that other page, but SMH, look at it leading. I mean, it's just beautiful. That's huge increase in 1-day velocity and heading towards the money angle to dip by if there ever was. So I hate to say you want to pull back, but if you get a pullback and you're not long, over leveraged, then you're happy. It's an opportunity to get long. Cyber as well did pretty good right here. Oh, nice, did it? Hell yeah. Oh yeah, going for it, going for that key level. Well, let's see what happens here. That's pretty cool. So that 107, I've got that as the key level, 107, 107,270. Look at that volume coming in. Hot damn. Just look at that. See what she does. Damn, son, slicing through it like a hot knife. Go down to 1 minute on that. Oh yeah. Now, so 1 minute's always tough. I mean, you're really getting in particular, but you see how we cross that important VWAP right there. We'll go back and look at what that is. Now, what you want to see is you cross through this key level that you have identified is obviously volume come in. You don't want to see it fail right here and come back underneath it, trickle underneath it, and then either off this VWAP or off this 107 level, kick it, and fail. You want to see volume come in, and preferably, perfect scenario would be more volume than this, right on that 1 minute time frame. But if it fails right here, then you'll see a retest, try to reclaim. If it fails that reclaim, then more times than not, it'll come back, pull back, and reset. So this will be fun to watch, see how that plays out right there. Let's give it a few minutes here. Let's check that VWAP. So, oh, that's from the higher low. Yeah, I remember that one. So this is from the April lows, key higher low on the Bitcoin. And as you can see, and I know I got, you're like, Fat, you got a little too many lines. It's not a bad thing when they get all, you learn that it's a good thing when they're all congested. So we've got a couple of things. This is a longer trend line right here. This pink though, I'm going to turn it to, so you can see it better. Turn it to black. There you go. So this is the VWAP off the higher low. And you can see we tested it right here, and right here. And so, and then we failed and reclaimed right here, but that was weak, right? It was so a little technical analysis. This was a lower high that we put in right here. So after we broke through, that wasn't unexpected, right? Kind of mean reversion off of this area right here, and then failed, and it failed to hold that larger, see this maroon pinkish trend line. It failed to hold it right there, and it came up against these VWAPs, and then pulled back to the 100,000 level, came back up, and pushed into this 107,000 level. So what we're doing is now we're running into that higher low VWAP. The smaller the time frame, I believe my understanding is the more accurate the VWAP is. So we'll see right here. Look how it's interacting with that level. See how it just boom, it's just beautiful on volume. And then now here we are, and it's fighting it. And let's see what happens here as it plays out. We'll come back and look at it. Keep going here. Really cool. All right, so be interesting to see how IBIT's looking on here, Bitcoin. All right, so cyber we know is strong. I believe D-Dog had a good day today, and we saw that yesterday night. All right, let's go ahead and check. So we've got cyber and semiconductors, which is what we saw last night, and so for the rest of the week, right? That should be an area of interest to watch. Arrow mode, gold, of course, we noticed that yesterday too, and gold's looking good tonight. And then ERX, so XLE, nice turn by XLE. So remember yesterday we talked about that, how because it's in the improving, just because it turns back doesn't mean it's bad. It's when it crosses over. This is like a 50 EMA area. Now, what I will note is that XOP, that's oil and gas exploration, right? Did cross over into the lagging, but I'll also note that USO was turned right here yesterday at the end of the week, and then now is looking at pushing into the improving. So very strong move by oil right there in terms of price action, but not necessarily relative strength, because we're not coming this way. To the right is relative strength, and we're not doing that right now. So commodities, the point is commodities, so versus the rest of the market, in other words, excuse me, versus, let me show you, versus the sectors right now, which has several of them in the lagging quadrant, although some of them are defensive, I'll give you that. But XLY has fully crossed over into lagging. XLC is past the 102 that I always talk about, very well crossing into lagging. That's a negative, period, any way you look at it. SMH is holding up XLK. I mean, it's clear that semiconductors, robotics, AI, all that is what's, of course, it is tech. And that's what's moving it up into leading. That is a singular growth sector that is moving. The other two are approaching the lagging. Right now, defensives and commodities types are pushing. Value is pushing this way into the left hook, as I call it. It's clear. There's healthcare right there. But you ride, as Stop Talk Weekly says, until the music stops. I mean, ride it, because this is the leading sector. There's no doubt. These guys are improving. That's why they're in the improving quadrant. But XLK is the leader. There's no doubt. My point is, both these guys falling off into lagging is not a good thing in terms of overall long term. Let's check Bitcoin. Oh man, she's getting rejected. All right, so we'll see what happens on that test. And remember, it's below the 200-day moving average, and that kind of stuff all sort of kicks in as well. Check something here. I just got a text. Tell you what, one thing you can do to piss me off is text me when I'm off work about work. People got to learn how to do their jobs. Sorry about that. Feeling a little cranky tonight. Feel like maybe I got a little sick or something yesterday. All right, so Bitcoin fading back a little bit there. All right, let's keep going here. Let's roll through this. All right, let's check our discretionary. So TAN, surprisingly, going down. Would have thought that would have looked a little better. And the rest of these guys, I mean, there's XLC and XLY again. Go zoom these in to see XRT, Jets, IBIT. IBIT's got a lot of work to do. So Bitcoin, a lot of work to do here to prepare itself. XLP trying to still, that's a good velocity move. Trying to make it, I got to put that one on the list, so to speak. I tell people all the time, this is like a 50 EMA level, this crossover into improving. Many times it gets rejected. But if you go back, let's see if XLP's already failed once. No, usually they'll fail once or twice before they make that move. So it wouldn't be surprising if it gets rejected, but that's a pretty strong move, I got to say, by XLP. And look at XLU. Nice. That's the best increase in velocity we've seen today, right? All those we're looking through. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, Dom. But that is in one day. That is a good looking move in terms of velocity. XLU, in terms of relative rotation graph, had the best day, looks like, out of the ETFs that we're tracking. Pretty good. And really, XLP maybe second best. So something to keep in mind. So XLU, write that down. XLP, Bitcoin, making that little bounce off the 1020 cloud intraday. So we're on the 1 minute time frame. Another thing you can do is from the move, and people argue, where is the move, quote unquote. I would say the move was here for me. This is just where I'm doing it, because this was that, I noted that we didn't have volume come in. I noted the move right here, and we didn't have volume come in. You know what? It's an art. So you come in and you put it, and you're like, okay. So here was the move back across the let me move the source so you can see the intraday VWAP. So see, I started it right there. That's the new start of Bitcoin for the day at 1900 hours. And we crossed it and closed above it. So I would put that first VWAP there. And then now you put this VWAP here as the volume comes in right there. And so now you have yourself some levels to sort of measure off of. And you can see how off that big volume candle right here, VWAP, that's where it found support at. And now that gives you, as Brian Shannon would say, an area to manage risk. So you could say, okay, somewhere underneath this volume, if I'm sort of intraday, shagging it right here, I'm just I'll drop it. Right? And you just kind of watch it and see how it handles itself right there as you go. Matter of fact, let me bring up another chart just so on my other screen, just so I can keep an eye on it. And remember, you're underneath the 200 day, so it's kind of like, well, you can understand if it struggles a little bit. Not as many good things happen underneath the 200 day. Better things happen above the 50, and even better things happen above the 20 day. Just interested in watching see how it's reacting off those VWAPs right there. Bring up on my other screen real quick, and then we'll move on. See, and so for me, if I'm intraday trading, so this, if it closes, so you got 29 seconds left. If it closes below that VWAP, or you can say, okay, I'm going to hold that 1020 cloud, two closes below that 1020 cloud. It's all symmetric. It all works across the board. Um, so like if you say two closes on a daily chart below the 20, well, two closes on a 1 minute time frame below the 1020 cloud, same thing. There's really no difference. So now here's our intraday. You know, and you might take something off here and you leave it and you check the intraday. That's up to you. I don't scalp much anymore, but it's fun to watch right here. Definitely not looking healthy right there. All right, let's see here. So that was all the relative rotation graph. Let's go ahead and move over into our ETFs and let's check them for setups. Let's see what we got tonight. So ETFs don't have the name. So USO is our first setup with a hammer. That's oil. Basically WTI, it's a representative of it. And there's your low volume setup right there. So beautiful low volume setup by oil. Relative strength line hanging in there. ITB, home builders, home construction. Another hammer. IHAC. Okay, so there's IHAC again. So IHAC came down, got pushed straight back up. We see the volume in there. We see it on the relative rotation. Cyber, IHAC, they're looking good, looking strong. Pave infrastructure development, not best setup. IBIT, good low volume setup right there on IBIT. The ERX is the XLE 3X. Olin moving into phase two right here. Sam Weinstein phase two looking good right there. Nice relative strength. So online retail, so Amazon type stuff again. And then ID&A, healthcare hanging in there, low volume setup, held its gap up today. IAT, regional banks. So how did CRE? I don't see CRE set up. Let's check ARTI, artificial intelligence. So actually, price was moving up on pretty low volume today as I'm looking at it. Look at ARCF. Yeah, interesting. So the ETF's moving up on light volume. Yep. Oh, there was Queeb. Let's go see how the China did they get. So it got a little more volume into the China plays. Sitting right underneath that 50. That would be big for Queeb to clear that 50 tomorrow. Let's check in on Bitcoin. There we go, holding the intraday VWAP. Pretty good distribution right there. We'll see if it bounces a little here. Takes another attempt at that 10. That 107, I knew it was key. It was pretty critical level. All right, let's go ahead and let's look at our setups for tonight. See what we got. Oh, not very many. Okay, so this falls under our category of not a lot of setups is a lot of times sign of a pullback. We'll see what happens. Hmm. We'll grab simple line here. Got too much going on. I got that other chart now. I'm starting to peek at Bitcoin the whole time. It was an interesting pop though. All right, so NKTR, farmer play. I'm just really not wanting to play those farmer plays. UHS, ooh, nice relative strength right there. Healthcare play. You know, I normally don't like gap downs, but I love the way this one immediately filled. Nice move right there, 2.5%. We saw XLV on the relative rotation graph, still looking good. And since we don't have a lot of setups, might be time to look at healthcare. I know BTSG was one we looked at last night, had a good day today. There's no PRO. No. Boy, there's not much. China A share, never seen this one. X Trackers Harvest CSI. ASHR. No, thank you. MRUS. No. all messed up. Clack. So beautiful relative strength. Semiconductor. Oh, semiconductors are the largest number of setups. That's what the light blue means. So nice. Yeah, the RMV is a little loose, but we're gonna leave it on there. ASML. Oh, that's pretty. You know what? I'm gonna take that one off and just focus on ASML right here. So we got a nice low volume pullback. Would again would like to see the relative measured volatility a little tighter. So price a little bit loose overall. But nice upside reversal and then follow through today on light volume. That's a key theme I'm seeing on most things is we had the light volume on anything that gapped up. Um, would rather see a lot more come Bitcoin starting to lose the intraday VWAP. Let's see if it recovers it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the close is what you wait on. So we got one. Yeah, I mean, you're going by the 10, whatever you want to go by right here, getting a little tongue tied. Here's a close below that first VWAP. This one's clearly below that one and the intraday VWAP. And then right here, it kind of wedged up a little bit and then fell underneath it, got rejected. I mean, we'll see, but that's not a great sign. And of course, we're just on a 1 minute time frame. Back that up a little bit, and you're like, oh, it's just a little meaner version of this candle, or we're coming into the 10-20 cloud right here and take another shot at, or like somebody noted earlier, they're just shooting it off this 5 day and just scalping it, right? And that would have been your best scalp right there off the 5 day. But this is the key level. That's the point. The main point is 107,270. That's a very key level right now on Bitcoin. All right, ASML. Love it. AVGX, so Avago. We'll check Avago. So that's a 2x forward or 3x. AMAT, another semiconductor setup. So looking good there. SATS. Soxel. Oh, so semiconductor. So SOX. And then this is 3x, right? 3x or 2x, can't remember. 3x. It's actually in a setup. But again, the low volume with the price rising. And then IBM. Ooh, double inside day on IBM. Nice relative strength. Now, this is what I like. So we got a low volume setup, double inside day, relative measured volatility right off the 10-day. That's number one focus right there. It looks good. So I'm a little wary about these guys rising on low volume, keeping UHS on there. Don't have a lot of setup, so we'll keep these guys for now. Let's see. And I know you said, well, Fat, you can write those into TradingView. I've gotten so used to doing this. And then the other thing is I'll have like on my bookmark, I have a little thing I'll run through if I'm not familiar with them. And it tells me everything about everything from a viewpoint. Oh, Bitcoin failing off that. Again, on that smaller time frame, it's failing. All right, let's check our Stock Talk Insider setups. Oof. Okay, so Vago, so we don't have to type it in. It's on our setups anyway. Yeah, so it's a little closer. So I'm liking that one. Again, look at the semiconductor setting up. So Avago, A-Lab. Boy, A-Lab, oof, that's ugly. All those gap downs close below the 50. Just looking at this gap area right here. So it reclaimed this area. I mean, some good volume in there, but that earnings. I mean, it's not terrible off earnings right here. Upside reversal. Keep it on the list. It's a little bit of a wild child, but worth watching. SRTA. Just not for me. It held that right underneath that 50 today at that 1020. I want to let it prove itself. INTC. I know we had some news today. Something about, I think, something about what their um, office management or whatnot. I could be wrong on that. So have to research that. It's not for me. I'm not liking all that news stuff anyway. Quick. It's got earnings, I think, tomorrow, and then PCYO. Not for me. Wow. So A Lab and Avago. But one of the interesting things is the number of semiconductors that are in setups. Ah, listen up here. A Lab, Avago, and Gamma. I just like to keep that routine in place. Like I said, I'll go back and have it scan all these and tell me about them, what's going on, news related, etc. Bitcoin, come on. How's futures doing? Is that, yeah. So again, it wouldn't be surprising to see it pull back, at least test this area right here. But really, in terms of gap sense, um, SPX, I'm having trouble finding my keyboard tonight. SPX, we never filled this gap, so it wouldn't be surprising to come back, fill this area right here. You know, we've got some key levels. Yeah, right here wouldn't be unsurprising. I mean, this was a heck of a drop, remember? So it needs a little bit of time. All right, let's check our setups. Interesting with those semiconductors. Bring this over here and let's type them in. And also of note, we don't have very many setups, which more times than not is not a good thing. You want to see, I believe the word would be proliferation of setups, and we're not seeing that. Although you could argue we're seeing a proliferation of setups in semiconductors. So this is it, guys. And that generally is almost never good. But might be good for semiconductors. I'm gonna add BTSG on there just because I may try to take a shot at it. And I'm gonna add Walmart. I was looking at that one earlier since we don't have many. So UHS, it's a nice upside reversal off the 20. Don't like that it's underneath that 5-day cloud and that it's starting to roll over right here. But that is pretty nice. See the earnings break, move into stage 2, pull back right there. That's that first pullback to the 20 after pushing out of stage 2. Now we're getting later stage moves, obviously later in the overall bull market. ASML, so we got the basing right here. We had earnings. It's just not enough volume. There's nothing there really. Taking it off. Yeah, UHS a lot more healthy. AMAT got earnings. Oh, got earnings. IBM. So this our double inside day. Yeah, yeah. Nothing wrong with this at all. Dividends today. Oh, that's sweet. So this is a beautiful low volume pullback. Double inside day. It's not extended like some of those semiconductor result we were looking at. Man, that's good. Highest volume within a year. That's the best setup for tomorrow. Might be the only setup. A Lab, it's gaining some. It's improving. Is basically what that. Well, there you go. There's my little code. So it's improving. Nice hold of the gap. There's just not enough volume. The earnings response was negative. Gotta take it off. It's sloppy chart. Vago. Damn, Bitcoin. Avago, yeah, I mean, so you could argue that's a failed breakout, or you could say it didn't have enough time. There's no distribution volume whatsoever. So going back to the market pullback, so let's go back to Let's go to SPX. That's a good one to look at. So if you look at SPX right here, we start getting this distribution. So if you say the pullback started right here on October 29th, you see the distribution. You saw Nvidia. So Nvidia and Avago kind of get, I don't say compared a lot, but a lot of people argue that Avago maybe took over leadership. So here's Nvidia from the 29th, and you see the distribution in there. You see the obvious pullback. And I know you can say, well, Jensen Yang said whatever. And then you got AMD, had earnings. And here it is on the 29th, and it was holding up all the way up into earnings, right? So it was holding up, no distribution in there, and then had earnings, and then now has pulled back, a little gap up again. Nothing special, but then now Avago, no distribution on the pullback whatsoever. So that's interesting right there. So we saw distribution in the other semiconductors and whatnot, and that 5-day is flattening out just fine right here. And 5 days flattening out right here. We'll see it turn back up. Low market pullback, more pullback to that 20 EMA, and then that 5-day start to turn up would be awesome. So Avago looking good. BTSG. I missed that one today. That's very healthy. Look at all that volume. Look at the close. Nice volume. Held up. Held that intraday VWAP pretty well. Wish I'd have taken that one along. Look at the ants formed. Ants are starting to show. David Ryan ants. Look at the volume back here. Leaving that one on there for maybe a little pullback into that 10-20 cloud. Let's see here. Walmart. So, looking to potentially move into some of those defensive plays. And when I look at Walmart right here, it's getting pushed right off that $100 level, right off that 30-week moving average. This was the spot to kind of get in it. Still below the 50, but you see where that 50, 10, 20 cloud could easily put in a power of 3 and close, open and close across all 3 key moving averages. Got earnings coming up, and this isn't my thing, but so if the tariffs are removed, then would it not be beneficial for Walmart, right? Now, I know they say they, not Walmart, but people say they get passed on to the consumers, but it would also get taken off the consumers, I would assume. So tariff removal could be very good for Walmart type play, in my opinion, but that's not really my area. So I just got my eyes on Walmart for if that news were to hit while everybody's chasing other stuff, might hit Walmart, might be the play right there. So that's it, guys. I mean, that is it. We've got UHS. I mean, that's beautiful volume. Nice earnings response. Pullback on that Friday pullback like a lot of stocks did, and then pushed up on the open right off that 20. Nothing wrong with that. IBM, absolute best looking setup. Double inside day. I mean, that's very simple. Early in the rotation, low volume pullback. I mean, that's a beautiful low volume setup right off. Oh yeah, right off this prior structure. That pivot level right there. Look at it come in and tap it right there. I mean, that's beautiful confluence. That's a good looking setup. Avago, that's a good looking setup too. I love that it doesn't have any distribution volume, relative strength line fighting to turn up within the base. This is a classic failed breakout reset right there off the mean reversion. Man, it looks good. Got a little flush right here from Friday. Closed strong Friday, right above that earnings VWAP. Most stocks did not close strong like that. No, I lied. Friday was when everybody closed up. Most people did. And then BTSG, just solid stock. I'm going to look for a pullback and buy. And then Walmart, potential buy off of any tariff news being ended. So that's it, guys. That's all I got for tonight. Appreciate you coming out. It's just a short night because we got a short number of stocks set up, which again, generally means we see a little bit of a pullback, which would be a healthy thing potentially. Thank you very much.